Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Women's Empower Network. And we have another amazing interview today with Reverend Dr. Beth. So, Reverend Dr. Beth, I'm so excited you're here. And if you would, for our group, if you would tell us a little bit about yourself and your story and journey that brought you to doing what you're doing now.
Well, thank you for having me. First of all, I really appreciate what you're doing in this sphere of influence. So I appreciate being here. I chuckle. I always think, well, where do I start? Because the older you get, like, where's your starting point in telling your story? When I was, I'll do it quick. When I was 46 years old, my kids were 12 and 14, and my husband passed away unexpectedly due to a motorcycle accident. And all of a sudden, I'm a widow, single mother, and navigating my grief. So it was a big deal. And about 3 years went by, and I was perusing the website and the internet. And my sister said, you could just be a coach, and you can just get an online certificate. And I laughed because I can't do that. And I lived in San Diego, and it was very high tech. And I lived near a university. So for me, just to get something on the internet, I didn't feel comfortable with. In retrospect, it doesn't really matter, but training is important. So I didn't need to go. And I chose to go back to school, and it was very healing for me. And rearranging my perspective of self, of spirit. I was sharing earlier that my father was Jewish and my mother was Catholic. So I had many doses of guilt to overcome, which was not difficult later in life, but that was going on. And just owning and loving the place of knowing that I am a spiritual being having a physical experience, and that I chose this time in life to be present on the planet and to give birth to my kids and have relationships with the people I have relationships with. And with all the noise around us, I can stay centered. I know who I am. I am at peace. And if I poof off the planet, that's a good thing. And if I stay here, I'm here to serve. So that's important. And I became a life coach and worked with women, primarily 40 years of age and older, who were experiencing massive change. And I had gone through several of those. I was in an intimate relationship with somebody who had had a stroke and went through the whole process of healing and doing all the medical paperwork and all that. And I was lost. And I knew I needed help, even though I was a coach. And I had a hard time finding that help because people would say, oh, well, there's a church down the road that has a grief group that meets one Thursday out of the month. Well, that's fine. But when you're stressed, you can't remember what day it is, what you're doing, and where, that doesn't compute when you're in a very stressful situation. Plus, it didn't really resonate with who I was. So I wanted to be that person that could help other women that were going through changes and needed a connection that they felt comfortable with and resonated. So that was my coaching. I've done that for 15 years, have a fabulous assessment that measures your physicality. It's a physiometric tool versus a psychometric tool, which measures what's between your ears, and that we are all made to look a certain way for a certain reason. There's only one of us ever on the planet. Every single person is a miracle, a walking miracle. And when you get to look at yourself and go, oh, well, what really gets me going is creating order. Like for me, I like making lists, and I'm really good at organizing. I'm a great administrator. I've color-coded files, I take authority, or it's given to me because I can do it better and faster than somebody else. And knowing what your gifts are helps you move through life more smoothly. And when you're creating a new chapter in life, it helps you focus on what needs to be focused on instead of being a windshield wiper. Oh, I'm over here. Oh, I'm over here. Oh, I'm over here. Oh, no, we could go right down the road just for a little bit here. I'm the bumpers on the bowling alley.
I love that.
I love you, but here's some bumpers. You need some bumpers.
You said something really important. It's really true that even though we may be in a leadership role or a life coach or, head of a business, that we all need support too. And what I love that is coming more mainstream is, the presidents and, the leaders of countries have all had advisors that help them navigate their life. And so now, it's just in the last decade maybe that, and here more recently in the last 2 or 3 years, where it's more accessible to get, other than traditional help, to go to a therapist or a counselor or something once a week, is to be able to find the right person like yourself, that somebody that you've been through what they're going through. And so it's more relatable than somebody learning something out of a textbook, not to minimize their gifts or their skills, but I much rather talk to somebody who's been where I'm at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did you go from knowing that you needed help and only finding that one group? What was the journey to finding the help for yourself before you started doing it yourself?
Well, I was already doing it. That was the issue. So here I am doing it and I'm a mess, and having to own that I'm a mess and I need help. So that was the first step. We just moved to a city further north from where we were. And I had a small group of people that have just still are in my life and were absolute God sent, angels for me. And I started getting involved with the community, which helped. We moved back to Longmont, Colorado, where we had more connections. And there's a group called Coffee and Connections of professional women and the chamber. So just making sure I showed up. And in doing so, I'm honoring myself. I'm learning from other people. And you just gain a better perspective, because when you're stressed out, you become very tunnel vision and feeling sorry for yourself, which is a good thing. I mean, it's a rightful emotion, but you have to move forward as well. So it kind of took off the poor, pitiful me and gave me a broader perspective of life. And so I came back to a place of balance. I had the tools to do it, so I was able to do it. But I still wanted somebody. Like, I didn't have a coach. I developed some great friends, and was kind of like our coaching session, just being in communion with one another. But, I just saw a need that women go through lots of different things, loss of a mate, a divorce, things with your children, drug addiction, and then they're really happy things. Your kids are getting married and they're babies, and do you get along with the wife or husband? And, so there are happy and exciting things, which can also throw you for a little bit of a loop, because okay, what is my role now? My kids are grown and married. I don't feel like they need me anymore. And that was very difficult. So it's like, oh, it brings tears to my eyes now. They're 33 and 35. They're not supposed to need you as much. They're supposed to honor you now and have fun with you now. So.
Right. There's all these journeys. To go back for a minute too, is I think as women, sometimes, I'm going to speak for myself. I had a fierce, independent personality, still do. And so I suffered from solopreneurship. Like, I had to figure it out myself. And I had all these tools. Like you said, you had the tools. But then I think there was some shame in there. Like, okay, I can help people and I know all this stuff, but I can't seem to help myself. So I like that you just somewhere you knew to make yourself get out and connect with other people,
Mhm.
and that helped you.
I'm emotionally centered first. So in this technology, there's 5 different levels or aspects of yourself, which styles, how you show up, what you look like means something, as I said. I'm trained to see that, but we also have a test. The other one is what motivates you in life. There's 12 motivators. It's like you have a pilot and a co-pilot, and the rest are in the back of the van. And if you stay with your pilot or co-pilot, everything's quiet. But when life gets turned upside down, all the ones in the back that aren't licensed to drive are making noise, which is distracting, or they reach over and grab the wheel, which can cause you to crash. So the analogy is, if you know what can keep you moving down the road with ease, it helps to make decisions better. The other aspect is how you connect, download information, and commit things to memory. And they're emotional, instinctual, intellectual, and moving. And we all have all 4 of them. And I've been taking this assessment like for 12 years, quarterly. So I kind of know my parameters. And so I'm emotionally centered first, which means I like connecting with people, plants, and animals. And I like touch, and I'm a hugger, and I like connection. Those things are really important to me. I had to learn to ask permission, may I hug you? Because not everybody likes that. And then you get the stiff, I call it the church hug.
Right.
So, I've learned to ask permission. And then knowing how much energy you have in life to give and receive and live, and that's helpful. And then your alchemy, which is your level of tolerance for people, places, and situations. And alchemy is the number one reason for relationship failure. Because if you have someone, it's a copper, silver, gold. Gold is highly meticulous. Their closets will be color coded, short sleeve, long sleeve, pants, bathroom drawers completely organized. If you move a towel, they'll move it back. So they'll never leave dishes in the sink. They'll never leave their clothes out when they go to bed. Silver is much more flexible and adaptable. If you saw my desk, you'd laugh. I have piles. So on the left are my bills and things I have to do, and on the right are the things I need to put away. And I just leave it like this. But when somebody comes to my house, all I have to do is open my drawer here in my desk and put everything in it and close it. So nobody knows how I really live, and I can just take the piles back out. I can leave dishes in the sink overnight and do it. So it's a lot more flexible. And then coppers are very organic. They like the Peace Corps, and they function well in third world countries. They love to hike. Their jobs might be construction workers or working in a warehouse. They don't mind wearing wrinkled shirts. So their appearance isn't as important to them as some of the others. So if you're a gold, you would probably never cross paths with the copper anyway. But you have to have communication and tolerance when you live with people. And when you know these things about one another, you can make allowances that keep the whole happy. And so it's important to know these things. And it's important knowing that life is all about change. Period and punto. That's it.
That's beautiful. So I really like if someone is feeling lost at the moment or alone and just, like you said, stressed, and so they don't even know what day it is. I love this description of this assessment that a person can take, because it's always like in Shakespeare, know thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that might give you some clues as to how to go about getting back to your center and how to move forward. That it's all temporary, but when you're in it, it doesn't, it just seems like it's forever.
Exactly. Exactly. And also it gives you a language to communicate with others, to communicate what your needs are. And you don't have to do it in a frustrated or angry way. And not that everybody communicates that way, but it just, you can speak more clearly about what you need in a calm way. And when you're calm, people actually listen to you versus creating a defensive response where they shut down and they're already thinking about what they're going to say back. And so it really is. And it's important to know yourself. And particularly for women, because women are in charge of relationships. So whether we want to think that, or whenever I say that when I'm teaching in front of a group, I have people nod their head like, yeah, I know that. And then I have people like, damn, I have to be responsible for one more thing. I don't want to do that. Well, some things just are. So if you know how to communicate with those around you effectively, it just makes life flow better. And then I lived here and I've been doing voiceover work, which is interesting. And so I'm combining the two where you can create the voice for your vision, or I can be the voice for your vision. A lot of people know technology and they have fun doing reels or whatever other mode, Facebook Live. But a lot of people are intimidated by that and they have a message to share. And I am happy to lovingly help them share that message, whether it's through my voice and their writing. I'm a very good writer and I could help write a program with or for them, and they can do the recording of it. So I like marrying the two because our world is so much more connected now via the internet and communicating in this fashion. So I've been
Wow,
having a great time.
that's beautiful. So it's kind of like the continuing extension. So after you come out of the weeds, and you know what day it is now, and you find your voice and you find your center, then it's almost like you can take them into the next step. Okay, well now here, let me help you share this message.
Yeah. Yeah. And particularly women 40 years of age and older. There's a reason I chose that age group because from 30 to 43, it's kind of a little bit of madness. Midlife changes, marriages, kids, comings, goings, life, death. There's a lot of things happening and there's a lot of changing hormonally. After 43, it's like, oh, like you take a deep breath and the clouds have parted and this is who I am and this is what I want. No, I don't want to be in this corporate job anymore. I want to do this. And you have all the skills to do it, which is wonderful. Then from 52 to 63, it's all about paying it forward. So you're ready to go out into the world and share. You still are at 43 and over. And, it's just in my mind, I'm going, yeah, but there's all these young people who are on face forward. It's true. But when you start at 43 going forward, you're grounded. You look at it differently. You know about strategy, your strategies. So that's why I like helping people in that age range, because they're ready to say, okay, I'll do that. I don't want to work for somebody, I'm sorry, that stays in whiny forever. I want to help people who want to feel and be better. And I don't think a coaching relationship should be a forever coaching relationship. I think we need to get better and move on. And I can be a friend, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be paid to coach you. So I'm here to get paid to help you get there. But then after that, then I'll be a friend. And on a different level, then we're talking. I'm not telling you or sharing or leading.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Well, this has been so informative and wonderful, and I love your journey. Is there any parting words that you would like to share with the group?
Yes, you are all a one-time miracle. So if you're feeling upset or having some lack of confidence or self-esteem, take a deep breath and know there's only one you and there will only ever be one you. And you have a purpose and a plan on this planet. A purpose does not have to be a gigantic thing, and our purposes change throughout life. So some people are lucky enough to have one throughout life, but most of us change. And to honor those changes, love and honor yourself. And if and when you need some help, reach out and ask for help.
That's so beautiful. And sometimes that's the hardest step,
Yes.
is asking. Well, Reverend Dr. Beth, I can't thank you enough for being here. And everybody, I want to let you know that if you want to get in touch with Reverend Dr. Beth, we will put ways to get in touch with her above this interview so that they don't get lost in the comments. And again, thank you so much for being here, Beth.
Thank you for having me. You're a delight, and I feel so honored to share this time with you.
Thank you.